Breaking news this midday. The man accused of killing Rochester police officer Anthony Mazurkiewicz last year appeared in court today in a room full of RPD officers. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Abby Friedman. Kelvin Vickers is also charged, along with two other defendants, in the shooting death of two men on North Clinton Avenue just a day before Officer Mazurkiewicz was killed. Today, Monroe County District Attorney argued that all three men should be on trial together in September.
Our position has always been that, consolidation really is in the interest of judicial economy. We believe that the probative value of having these cases tried together far outreaches any prejudice to any of the defendants.
Vickers co-defendants Diedrich Fulwiley and Raheem Robinson are not accused in the killing of Officer Mazurkiewicz, but they are each charged with multiple felonies, including murder, in connection with a triple shooting that happened on July 20th. The attorneys for all three defendants have asked the judge not to consolidate the cases. The judge will make a decision next week.
This is a course of conduct. This should all be tried together. And my position clearly is, it supports the aggravated murder charge that they must have known that the police were looking after them after all of the havoc that they were, causing in the city of Rochester over the previous days.
Anthony Mazurkiewicz was shot and killed, and his partner, Sino Seng, was injured while they were doing surveillance on Bauman Street. Now, last month, three people were federally arraigned in a 10-count indictment in connection to a host of crimes said to be linked to the murder. Vickers is the only defendant charged with the murder of Mazurkiewicz. His trial is set for September 18th. We're going to have more on this tonight at 5 and 6 o'clock.
As we know, actions can have consequences, and that's why we're here today. Hoover Police detectives obtained warrants for the arrest of Carlee Russell.
And now the legal process begins. The 2-week drama surrounding the disappearance and reemergence of Carlee Russell will now move into the court system. The question now, if convicted, will Russell serve time in jail? Good evening, I'm Brenda LeDunn.
And I'm Stephen Quinn. The charges against Russell are Class A misdemeanors. She is free on bond this evening. Valerie Bell is with us. Valerie, could Russell be facing time in jail for all of this?
Stephen, Carlee Russell was charged with false reporting to law enforcement authorities and falsely reporting an incident. Each of these misdemeanors carry up to a year in jail, and there's a potential fine of up to $6,000 upon conviction.
Judging from the amount of phone calls and emails that we've received from people all over the country, I know many are shocked and appalled that Miss Russell is only being charged with 2 misdemeanors, despite all the panic and disruption her actions caused. Let me assure you, I too share the same frustration, but existing laws only allow the charges that were filed to be filed.
Both Hoover Police Chief Nick Durzis and Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall did not count out that more charges could be forthcoming.
We will continue to monitor this investigation to determine whether or not there are any additional charges that need to be brought, and we'll evaluate those as the facts are presented. In
Carlee Russell's initial statement from her attorney earlier this week, Russell claimed she acted alone. In the investigation so far, Chief Durzis says police are still in the dark as to where Russell was during the 49 hours she was missing and if she indeed acted alone.
As the Attorney General said, their team will also be searching through our files, and we'll find out what they say.
So what are the next steps?
Right now, the Attorney General's office attorneys will start dealing with our detectives and going through case files and preparing prosecution, I presume.
Has there been any decision about a possible civil suit against Carlee and or her family?
We have not discussed that. Of course, we talked about the hours of overtime and all the significant resources that we used. And we'll certainly be talking to the Attorney General's office about possibly getting some of those funds returned to us.
Carlee Russell was released from jail this afternoon after posting bond not too long after she turned herself in. Stephen?
Valerie, Chief Durzis said he'd like to see the law change when it comes to law cases like this.
Stephen, I spoke with Representative Alan Treadaway, who chairs the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee. He says when someone is reportedly kidnapped, there should be a response like this. However, when law enforcement is sent on a wild goose chase, like in this case, there needs to be serious consequences, and a misdemeanor charge is not enough. Treadway tells me he will reach out to Durzis ahead of the session, and it will be at the top of his priority list to get the law changed to hold people accountable for a hoax like this one.
Another major story we're following at this hour, explosive new allegations after the recent conviction of former school principal Kirk Ashton, who is now serving time for sexually abusing students. New allegations tonight from a former Hilton vice principal. This following the sex abuse conviction of Kirk Ashton. The former Northwood Elementary principal was convicted of sexually abusing 21 boys, all of them students. In a new lawsuit, Kelly O'Connell Byrne claims the district threatened her with legal action over her testimony. The lawsuit also claims Superintendent Casey Kasorik told administrators that Byrne should be held responsible for Ashton's misconduct and would never receive a principal position in the district. Byrne also testified that Ashton and the superintendent were close and that he gave Ashton highly effective performance reviews until the day he was placed on administrative leave. The lawsuit goes on to say that teachers had expressed discontent over Ashton, sharing concerns in exit interviews about his lack of leadership and spending too much time on his apparent, quote, lunch bunch with boys. The district has denied the allegations in its response to the complaint. And just a short time ago, the district told us it denies O'Connell Byrne's allegations of First Amendment rights violations and age discrimination. The district also says it is confident in its legal position and is seeking motions to dismiss.